What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11. How did they know who did this so quickly like they did Lee Harvey Oswald?
Who's going to investigate the investigators? Who's going to investigate the prosecutors? Who's going to hold them accountable? Who's going to hold us public officials accountable? And that's all we're trying to do here, in addition to trying to find the truth.
Do you honestly and truly in your heart believe that Sandy Hook actually happened? Yes or no? No. All right, number 2.
And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Because you're in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
It's only just begun.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! Woo! Woo!
You guys are getting more high tech every time I see
yeah.
it.
A little bit better now.
A little bit more. I just don't want to start talking too loud. Is that good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. Yeah, ever since this came out, it torched me because I used to love watching Steve Bannon do speeches because I was like, this guy gets it. And now I'm like, the coping I'm doing in my mind, like, was this guy naval intelligence? Was he turning Epstein in? And then it's like, obviously not. He's just chilling with Epstein. Yeah. They're like best friends.
Yeah,
All right, I'll start.
Okay.
All right, Nick, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, when I saw the one that was like from Ghislaine to Epstein going, Gawker have printed the entire address book, albeit redacted, is like, that's Epstein finding out about you sending in the little black book.
Yes.
That's crazy.
How'd that
And
feel
dude,
reading through that?
He had after he put the APB out on you, he had 4 years to deal with you.
Yeah,
That's such a long time, 3.5 years or whatever.
I don't think Jeffrey Epstein liked me very much.
No.
But
Put it lightly.
I want to, on a positive note, I've done a lot of podcasts, but you two are my favorite podcasts.
Thank you very
Nice,
much.
nice.
Take that, frame it.
Yeah, I was watching one podcast that you were doing, and you hit up the Harry Fish guy.
Yes.
The guy with the pizza. And,
Yeah.
So, like, dude, he's sitting here talking to him, and he's like, is the food codes, or is this just like, or are they just obsessed with junk food? Because the guy's like, the fish heads was what I needed. Chicken parm would have been good, too. You're back on my show. One more thing, Chunkies. And then he's like, cherry Pop-Tart. Like, what are they talking about?
Well, you've got Susan Hamblin, who is the head of an adoption charity, and she's talking about sending muffins and steaks to the island.
I don't like this.
Now,
That's an insane combo.
I would have to say that she is not sending muffins and steaks to Little St. James.
Yeah.
She's obviously sending children to Little St. James.
That's where, like, back when we first started talking to you, like, we didn't even want to bring up, like, the Pizzagate stuff because, like, we were, like, way into that when it first came out and everything like that. But we didn't want to, like, make you have to, like, talk about, like, a crazy conspiracy. But now it is kind of insane that they are using some sort of code words. But I don't think the two code words are overlapping from Pizzagate and Epstein stuff. I feel like they got, like, their own spin on using, like, weird codes.
It's tough. There was that email that you saw from Harry Fish. He's an eminent urologist. And he said to Epstein, I can't wait till we go out for pizza and grape soda. And I called him up. I got his number. And I'm going to be contacting more and more of these villains. Yeah. I've contacted a few of them now. And I called up Harry and I said, Harry, how you doing? My name's Nick Bryant. I'm a journalist. And I'd like to know, I've got an email that you shared with Jeffrey Epstein, and you're talking about pizza and grape soda. And I'd like to know what type of pizza you like and what brand of grape soda you'd suggest. And he never got back to me. I was really offended by that. So I sent him a text that basically said the same thing. And I posted the text on Twitter. And he never got back to me on that either. I mean, I think that's kind of rude.
Yeah. They seem to be talking all the time.
The other code one is the shrimp one. There's the black shrimp and the shrimp heads you throw away. Like, this makes no sense.
Not at all.
Well, obviously, I think the dark shrimp, the guy who, his name was Colomb, right?
Yeah.
I think that he obviously didn't like African Americans. But snapping the heads off, that's
actual shrimp talk.
That's kind of strange.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, I think that we can see by these emails. I knew that there was a very dark side to Epstein, a very dark side.
Well,
but
that's the thing that's frustrating for me is people are trying to spin it now like this guy was just kind of normal. These are just like hot young 20-something-year-old girls, and it's like, dude, I don't think so.
I mean, the emails show that they're exchanging pictures of girls that are 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old.
And that's true.
Yeah, I mean, the JPEGs say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and I've known that Epstein was trafficking girls under 10 for quite some time. And I've talked about it. And people have been skeptical, but now these documents really show that he was trafficking. And there's other accounts of girls that are under 10 being trafficked by him.
And if you do Epstein justice right, could we see these things unredacted, or like could like a congressperson see it?
Well, now with Epstein justice, we want an independent congressional commission. And that does not entail a signature of the president. You need a majority in the House and a majority in the Senate. And the thing about independent congressional commissions is they often employ non-government personnel, because we would need non-government personnel to dig into this if we were going to do it. Because if it goes to a subcommittee, it's going to die. I mean, that's where things go to die, is in subcommittees. So we need an independent congressional commission. Now, that's going to require a majority in the House and a majority in the Senate.
Which you're close, right? Like,
Yeah,
you should be able to do that.
I think that we are relatively close.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that there were people that were compromised that voted for a investigation just because
it looks good.
There was a guy from California I saw that the first time, like the first wave of files that got dropped, like he was still just like, don't believe this shit. Like he looked like he was pretty hurt that all this stuff was getting released, because it is like getting a lot of people in a ton of trouble, which is kind of impressive because that hasn't happened in anything I've looked into in my life.
Well, we need people arrested at this point. So now we need an independent congressional commission more than we ever have, because we've got all these documents, and we have to find out who's sending these documents, who are the redacted names. The Trump administration is blatantly breaking the law of the Epstein Transparency Act.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to provide us with all the documents, and only the victims are supposed to be redacted. So Trump and that whole administration is...
And they did the opposite.
Yes.
They redacted all the billionaires and released all the victims' names, which is insane. It's almost like a hit list where it's like, yeah, you can take these people out if you want to.
When Bondi said, when she was testifying last week before the House, and she said, yeah, we're willing to talk to any Epstein victim that comes forward. And then all the Epstein victims stood up and they said, raise your hand if you've talked to the FBI, and none of them, and all of them raised their hand.
No, man, Cash is solid, dude. Cash is going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it is like, for everything, is there anything that's surprising you from the files that you haven't already known, or?
I was surprised in this one where it was he got invited to a skiff, and they're talking about it with Bannon. So he was talking to like military guys.
Yeah, that's insane.
Dropsite News has done some really good reporting on Ehud Barak, who is also a pedophile.
Yeah.
And
Straight up.
according to Virginia Giuffre, and he and Epstein were putting together arms deals, significant arms deals.
Yeah.
And Epstein was putting together arms deals. He was laundering money. He was trafficking underage girls. He was blackmailing. That's a very talented guy.
Yeah.
If I was Team Evil, he would be a first-round draft choice. I mean, he might be the first pick overall if I was Team Evil.
Do you think there's other dudes out there on this level?
Yes.
Wow. They're like, you know, like guys like MI6 will reach out, be like, we need a deal made, butter up this Sultan.
Is he like an evil Ray Donovan kind of? Like a Showtime show?
Yeah.
Like a fixer or something?
Well, I think he was. I mean, in the Franklin scandal, there was Craig Spence.
Yeah, he was in Vietnam, right?
Well, he was actually an ABC broadcaster in Vietnam.
Right.
And then King was Lawrence King was in Thailand at that exact same time. He was with the Air Force, and he had a top security clearance. And my theory on that is, I can't prove it, but this is my theory, and I think I know Franklin better than just about anybody, is I think both of them got busted molesting little boys in Southeast Asia, and they were turned because both those guys were from blue collar backgrounds, and
Get the shit kicked out of you, go home.
but when they came back to the U.S., their careers were like rockets,
Right.
and the impunity with which they operated, we saw the same impunity with Epstein.
I mean, that's Epstein's thing too. He's just a Coney Island boy.
Well, his dad was a gardener for New York City.
Yeah.
You know, people say, well, Epstein was blackmailing this person or Epstein was he was blackmailing some of the most powerful people in the world.
Yeah.
And there's no way a gardener's son in Coney Island that's a college dropout is going to be able to blackmail really powerful people because they have access to thugs. I've written an article about this where I showed that Les Wexner had definitely big-time mafia connections.
It's weird how that guy just shrugged that stuff off yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't seem too
He's like,
bothered
I'm not
in that
even friends
deposition.
with. I'm not even friends with Epstein.
And he was doing business with Epstein. They were. There's deals that they did after Epstein was a convicted child molester.
Yeah.
And so that, in and of itself, just shows that he's lying.
Yeah.
But we all know that he's lying. But the mind-boggling thing about that is the FBI hadn't even interviewed him.
Up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is insane.
That's the first time.
That's the first time they've ever talked to him.
Nice job, Cash.
And it's like, obviously, the guy had a teen lingerie magazine. Like, obviously, this guy might be a pedophile.
Well,
Like, the fact that that got pushed through and published and like sent to people's houses is insane.
And the Hollister boys.
Yeah, Hollister
Yeah.
guys, all that stuff. Yeah.
Wexner is one of the grand wizards of all this. I think that Epstein was actually afraid of Wexner.
Yeah.
And some of those emails. I think that, and
I saw pictures of him chilling on a boat, and it definitely looked like they were sitting around a mentor.
Yeah.
It was like a couple dudes I don't know, Epstein, and then I was like, "Who's this old guy?" And I kept like zooming in. And I was like, "That's Les Wexner." Fuck.
the old shriveled up guy.
Yeah.
The thing about Epstein and Wexner is they were lovers too.
Oh, dude,
Is
we
that
said
real?
this.
Like I was like, bro, he's whatever. I'm not judging.
But
anybody,
they were both lovers and they were pedophiles together. I mean, Wexner was, according to Virginia Giuffre, was molesting little girls. But then I've heard from other sources that he was allegedly molesting little boys. I think little boys were probably his chosen pedophilic target.
And when you say like according to Virginia, like these, she gets corroborated by
Heavily.
other people. Like that's because people are saying now it's like, oh, she's just a crazy chick.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, like, I don't know. There's way too much stuff in here.
I wrote an article that's on my blog, and it's called A Requiem for Virginia Giuffre, and I get into all the evidence that supports her. And she was really a supernova, a really amazing person. I got to know her fairly well, and when she moved back to Australia, she just kind of went radio silent with a bunch of people. And we didn't really know what was going on with her because she never returned my emails or my calls. And that's also the case with other people that I know that knew her very well. And I had no idea why she went radio silent. I was thinking that maybe she's taken on all these powerful guys and she just wants to kind of recede in an anonymity. Although she was terrified of Wexner and she was terrified of Ehud Barak.
Right. Okay.
Terrified. And, but what was going on is her husband was beating her up.
Damn.
And she just kind of, and Virginia, her father started molesting her when she was 6 and farmed her out to an next-door neighbor when she was 8. So Virginia obviously had dissociative identity disorder. I've got no doubts about that. And people with dissociative identity disorder, like, she went up against all these powerful people. And if you've got dissociative identity disorder, it can be hugely helpful because if you are...
You can like shift into the gear.
Yeah,
like,
you can shift into a different gear.
I gotcha.
And I think that enabled her to get through what she went through. We've seen that with like Paul Benassi and the Franklin scandal. So I think that the wheels came off. She had endured so much trauma. She was molested by her father when she was 6. He farmed her out when she was 8. She was put into an archaic institution when she was like 11 or 12. And one of those tough love kind of places. In the 70s and probably in the early 80s, like rehabs used to put people in diapers and give them dunce hats.
Yeah,
and
they were
stuff.
real serious.
Are you serious?
Oh, there's places like my dad's one buddy who was like, you get sent to that and it is like fucking for like you're never
like
doing
a juvenile detention.
Kinda, you're never
gotcha.
doing drugs again,
Right,
or
right.
you're fucked for life.
Well, what their philosophy is that you needed to break people down.
Yeah.
But now people know that drug addicts and alcoholics have already broken themselves
Why
down.
they do
You know? They need to be built up. They don't need any more breaking down. But so she was sent to one of those places that break people down, and she ran away, and she was selling herself on the streets, and she intersected. I think he was in a limo. A guy named Ron Eppinger. He was a pedophilic pimp.
I was wondering if that was a real name. That's in her book.
Yeah, Ron Eppinger.
okay.
And so Eppinger rented an apartment for her, and pedophiles would come in during the day, the night, whatever. And then the FBI got onto Eppinger, and then he gave her to a guy named Kelman. And then in a pre-dawn raid, the FBI kicked down Kelman's door. And Virginia was, I think, 15 at this point. And her father was kind enough to let her back into the house.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Her father, I've seen him on some television interviews, and
What was he like as far as like work? Was he in like politics or
was-
just a dude?
he was like a maintenance man for Mar-a-Lago.
Ooh, yeah.
Ouchie.
That hurts.
And then he got Virginia a job at Mar-a-Lago. And that's when she met Maxwell. And Epstein and Maxwell, when we talk about the Franklin scandal, like the kids, a lot of them came from Boys Town. Mm-hmm. And Boys Town taught them deference and respect and
They were programmed.
try to wash any kind of street stuff out of them. And because you cannot take a kid off the street and put him in the same room as a senator.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go to a dinner
they have
party.
to be they have to be trained, they have to be conditioned, they have to be groomed. And Virginia was already all of those things. So it was easy for Epstein and Maxwell just to traffic her all over.
Right.
And then like so when she gets sent to Mar-a-Lago, like do you think like there's like a ton of like argument back and forth with like if Trump had anything to do with it or Trump's an FBI informant, like what do you think as far as like Trump's role in all this goes? Like where does he stand in this thing? Is he just like guilty as the rest of them, or do you think he might have been an FBI informant? Asking for a friend.
He ostensibly said to the Palm Beach police chief that Epstein was a monster, I think in 2007. But I've got to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
And with Trump, the thing about Epstein is Epstein wore what he was on his sleeve. I mean, maybe he could be cool for an hour, maybe he could be cool for a day. But if you spent any time with Jeffrey Epstein, you knew exactly what he was about.
Okay.
Yeah, he was reading me the emails between his like girlfriends or whatever, like the chicks he groomed, and like the manipulation and the weirdness, like the shit he does to the chicks is like really fucked up.
Yeah, if you keyword search J.E. Jail, seems to be like this. He was talking to this girl, like NEM was her initials, and the way he was controlling her, and it was right before that was his girlfriend, I think, who became a pilot, like right before he got his.
Well, that's Nadia Marcinkova.
And dude, the way he's talking to these girls is like mind control. He's got them like afraid to fuck up. He's a controlling psycho, dude. Oh, yeah. And he's like talking about how they don't make good enough omelets, and they got to read all these books and get smart, and like give him massages and help him with the exercises. Yeah. They got to work out 4 or 5 times a day, and it's like, this guy's a psychopath. This is why when they go, let's go get grape soda and pizza, I'm like, this guy's not eating junk food.
No.
He's a health freak. He's trying to like clone himself in Santa Fe. He's a maniac, dude.
I think he probably did clone himself.
I'm terrified.
You told us that last time we were like cloning is that hard. I probably think about it once a week.
The world's way different now. People are like way more open to hearing about cloning, but like the thing that's the same is what I see them doing in Virginia and stuff is the same thing they did to the Franklin scandal kids. Is they're on drugs. She's crazy.
Yeah.
You all know a crazy girl. That's one of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's not what's going on here.
And that's what happened to Paul Benassi, right? That there was like, he's a nut. Like
Paul,
you can't believe anything he says.
I mean, Paul went through just hell starting at a very young age. And he has said that he was a mind control survivor. And I did a lot of research into Paul, and just about everything that he said that I could corroborate turned out to be true. He said that he took part in the Johnny Gosch abduction, and that Johnny Gosch was taken to a house in Colorado, and that all turned out to be true.
Yeah.
So with Paul, I mean, most of the things that he said is true, and I think that with Epstein, there might have been some kind of nexus with mind control. I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to 3 Franklin victims, and I firmly believe that they were mind controlled.
Do you think did he name his plane Lolita Express? Or is that the name that's been given to it by the press?
I think that was the name that was given by the press. Right. But I'm sure he was proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm just like fascinated. I never read Lolita. I'm like halfway through it. It's actually like rugged. The language it's a tough read. But like in the book is like you're reading this dead dude's diary, and he's like edgelording, being like, I can't believe I'm writing this stuff down. If anybody ever reads this, I'm so busted.
Yeah.
And like Lolita will come in, like Dolores will come in the room and be like, what are you writing? He's like, nothing. Like he's doing this stuff, right? But it's kind of like we are reading a dead dude's diary that was like living out this like pedophile life.
Yeah.
It's the same as Lolita.
And he seems to be like, doesn't he reference it or something like that a lot?
I mean,
he's got like a first edition.
Yeah, yeah. He has all the first editions.
I looked into that. He's boys with this dude Edward J. Epstein that writes for
he's a
JFK assassinations and stuff. And
he's a propaganda writer.
That dude's college professor was Vladimir Nabokov, the guy that wrote Lolita. So I think that's how he was getting them. But he would hand them out to people like, I got you, bro. I got a signed first edition.
Yeah. I mean,
and he would give them to people. But he was writing quotes from Lolita on girls' skin, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a fucking psycho.
I mean, that's like edging. Like, dude, one day they'll find these pictures.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Epstein was he was very confident that he could do anything he wanted, and he was going to get away with it.
Yeah, the way he was talking on like the videos that we watch of like him on the island and stuff like that, he sounded like he was like he beat the game and he's just showing people like, yeah, I got my own beach. Like, no boats can come in here. Like he sounded like a real dickhead.
He's a dick.
Well, he's a psychopath.
Yeah,
I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was a psychopath, and I knew that Jeffrey Epstein was a psychopath. And with psychopaths, they do not have a conscience. They're not hindered by a conscience. they do whatever they want to do.
I was just
I
looking
get
into
so
psychopaths,
frustrated about this because I know that you're right.
Yeah.
And nobody actually very few people will actually encounter a psychopath in their life and know it or know them well enough to know that they're psychopaths. So regular people are like sitting there going like, this is crazy. Nobody could be like this. He's probably like this.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like a regular person. And this dude does not have a conscience.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Jiminy Cricket, bro.
And the psychopaths are even worse than the sociopaths, right?
Well, they're about the same. No conscience. Well, the thing about it is, you're not going to know you're dealing with a psychopath or a sociopath unless you have something they want or you're in an impediment to something they want. And then you will realize what is, and that's happened to me a couple of times. Where I've realized I'm dealing with some psychopaths here.
I was talking to him a little while ago about that, where it's like, couldn't these people, like, if you're running these like sex trafficking, pedophilia, like, couldn't you find, like, if you get a psychopath, that's like getting a kid who's running a 4.340 in 8th grade, where you're like, fuck, I can use you, buddy, and you fucking put him in the Dalton school, you fast pass through all this stuff, and they just get him to start do your bidding, and he could care less as long as you're just like, dude, you're the man. Your dick's definitely not shaped like an egg.
It's just weird. It is weird because in 2014, Bill Burns and Peter Thiel are like, we got to go chill and have a meeting with Epstein. It's like, so what is this dude?
Yeah.
This dude isn't just some random ass psychopath.
Burns actually had at least 3 meetings, and he became the CIA director under Joseph Biden.
Jesus.
So what was he before? What was he when he was doing this?
He was a diplomat, and then he became president of the Carnegie Foundation.
Okay.
And then he...
What's that, like a think tank or something? Or like a...
It's ostensibly a charity.
Okay.
But like the Rockefeller, I mean, a lot of these organizations from old money that are ostensibly charities have intelligence connections.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like with the Ford family and the Rockefeller family, there's definitely been connections between their foundations and intelligence.
And that dude was CIA director for Biden?
Yes.
What the fuck? Yeah, this is...
The other weird shit that he gets into is all that science stuff. So he gets into all these scientists, and he got into that Edge thing, but then he becomes boys with them all. And all the stuff he gets into is the CRISPR, the gene editing, and the trans stuff. And that hit mainstream like after Epstein.
Well, there's that email where the dude's talking about, I can't remember his name. He's talking about giving hormone blockers to little boys and testosterone to little girls.
Yeah.
To essentially produce a hermaphrodite. Yeah. And he's talking about how sexy the hermaphrodite's going to be. And I've never really found
nuts. Dude.
I never really found hermaphrodite sexy. I mean, granted, I don't know if I've
medical
ever
anomaly maybe, but that's about it.
But it's never been something that I've been attracted to. Yeah. So, but I'm sure that there are rich freaks out there that
they probably get bored with the old supermodel.
Yeah,
you know.
And that was the same thing with with Franklin. Is a lot of these guys, they can have prostitutes for $1,000 an hour, $2,000 an hour, $3,000 an hour, and ultimately they go towards forbidden fruit. And then sometimes they have to keep getting more violent and more violent and more violent.
There's a lot of like strangulation and torture stuff in the emails too, which like I for some reason it's just very easy for me to picture like these rich dudes just kind of losing their mind and strangling a chick by accident. And then Epstein walks in and goes, "All right, I guess we're gonna have to clean this up," and you're blackmailed.
I mean, you remember when the little kid was jumping out of that British building?
Yeah,
with the sheet.
Yeah,
I always think about that.
I think about all this stuff.
The thing
and there was that Mexican girl that was like, "They're eating people."
Yeah,
oh yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah.
And it would be really nice to get to the bottom of all this coded language.
Yeah.
I've seen different accounts of what that coded language is, but I just
can't corroborate it or whatever.
I don't know at this point. I'm not. You guys know me. I want to be pretty confident.
Yeah, that's what it's hard to figure out what because there was one thing we were talking about something last week where like if you read it a few times you can kind of make sense of it because these guys are also like they're incoherent when it comes to spelling and talking and all that stuff.
You think Epstein's talking in code when he's typing out.
Yeah.
You think it's a voice to text.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it could be maybe voice to text or something, because like I've sent text messages where like it sounds like I'm on meth because I'm not looking at my phone and texting, then I just hit send. But like with the pictures and like with everything together, it is definitely, there's something going on. But like you can kind of like put it to the side of your mind if you're just like, oh, well, maybe that's a mistake or something like that. But it definitely seems like
they think different.
Yeah.
When we were driving up here, I was reading Epstein and Woody Allen's wife talking about Anthony Weiner, and she's just like, that little girl, she knows what she's doing. That poor man, what she's doing to that poor man. And he's like, I can't believe he thought he was safe talking to a 15-year-old on the internet. It's like, dude, what are you guys?
Yeah.
And then Woody talks about like terminating someone.
Yeah.
Their life. I mean, she turned out to be a little. She was Woody Allen.
Woody kind of escaped all the original Epstein stuff. Woody Allen was. I don't remember Woody Allen being this like
never
dinners with Woody. Yo, what about him having Walter Cronkite, being friends with Dick Cavett? This is nuts. I know. Yeah.
Woody was friends with just about anybody on the left.
No, I mean Epstein.
Oh, Epstein. Yes,
like, that's fucking crazy, dude.
The thing about Epstein is he was a connector. He connected a lot of people.
Yeah.
In one of the emails, he's using Fergie to get to Prince Andrew.
Right.
And that's what he does, is he uses people to get to other people.
There were some scorned women in the email saying like, I now know that you were just using me. And it seems like everyone he was talking to was a transactional relationship to get to the next
Before
person.
this, dude, it's like, it must be so hard for you to hang out with normal people. You're so smart. I see how you like talk to people and get whatever you want. Like master manipulator stuff. He wouldn't have got me though. No chance.
As I said, psychopaths are really smooth. And you're not going to know that you're dealing with a psychopath unless they got something you want or you're an impediment to something.
I gotta remember this. This is like the yacht thing you have. That's very important to know. Like, they're only talking to you if they need something from you.
What about the Prince Andrew stuff? They said he just got pulled in for like financial stuff. It wasn't even about.
It was giving information, trade information to Epstein.
So it had nothing to do with like hanging out on the plane with little girls or anything like that.
No, but it's a start. You know, I mean,
you should like tie Epstein justice to his financial crimes, and maybe someone would actually go crazy over it.
It's that UK ambassador to America, Peter Mandelson. I mean, he was the guy that wrote to Epstein, or Epstein wrote to him, I love the torture video.
Yeah, he's the guy that's like Leonardo DiCaprio needs some money. Like that's Epstein's hitting him up about that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And that was weird too.
I mean, this is Prince Andrew. That's Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Look at
There's a lot of like, there's some stuff that's like blowing people's mind, the pictures and stuff like this. But like to me, like this shit has been out forever. So like I get like weirded out that like, and now all of a sudden they're gonna put all this stuff out, like almost like a limited hangout, and then like them trying real hard to tie it to Pizzagate to like maybe like hurt its credibility or something like that. Like something just seems off about the way they're.
We've already been through this with Pizzagate.
Yeah.
We were already like sucked in, and then it was like, dude, what are we doing? And then I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that to us, but
because like
we did it to ourselves.
The early Pizzagate stuff, it was just emails from WikiLeaks from Podesta to like everyone else. Like it was like normal stuff. So like I don't understand like why it kind of just got like a kid went in there and shot the hard drive, and then like a few years later he gets killed, and everyone's like, oh, it was just some weirdos online talking crazy.
With Pizzagate, as I said, I looked into it and I could never really define any definitive information. So with the stuff that's coming out now, I mean, if you exclude even the pizzas and the muffins and the steaks, you still have some very evil stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, very evil. And what we need is, our government, the Trump administration, is telling us that Epstein had no co-conspirators. They're sticking to that.
It's a crazy one-man job.
I was reading this Lad Bible article about how Ghislaine is fighting for her shit to be appealed because she's supposed to be protected under the original thing.
Immunity, yeah.
She's saying one of the jurors was sexually abused and never disclosed that before. And like, dude, like when you read this thing, you're like, they should probably do a retrial thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's guilty or whatever, but like, she brought up a lot of her lawyers like brought up a lot of good points in that. I'm like, dude, are they purposely fucking this up? Like, I don't know if they're gonna pardon her or what, but she's getting like a pretty easy life right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she should be in like a dungeon, and bread and water should be like the extent of her of her diet.
Yeah.
In these emails that you or in all this stuff that you looked at, they killed people. It's in the files that they might have killed people.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Well,
I mean, I guess it's not even trafficking kids. Like, what's the difference?
There's murder in the Franklin scandal of kids. And we were talking about this earlier. I believe that these guys get more and more and more violent to live on the edge, to get cortisol or
whatever
to
that
amp
is,
themselves.
Feel something.
And
it's like when dudes have to look at weirder and weirder porn.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you have it with these power brokers. And a lot of them are psychopaths or sociopaths.
Yes. This is my new running theory that when they start getting kids in school, once they figure out you're a psychopath, it's like, all right, we're fast lining you to whatever political power, like whatever we need you to do, because like it doesn't, like what they're doing, like Pam Bondi, like all these people, Kash Patel and Bongino, like what they're doing makes no sense. Like they're obviously lying and protecting pedophiles, so either they're compromised or they're psychopaths. Like I don't think there's any like in between.
I mean, it could be both.
Yeah.
What's weird is to say they're psychopaths and they only talk to you if they need you. And he's got that chick Elizabeth Loftus, the memory lady.
False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
This is a big deal if Epstein is looking into this chick.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's speed dial for anyone who gets hit with pedophilia or something like that.
And the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, it's folded, but it was founded by a pedophile and his wife, who was also his sister.
Yo, dude, what?
Gotta start somewhere, I guess.
Pamela and Peter Fried, they started the False Memory Syndrome Foundation because their child said that she'd been molested by Peter.
Oh, I mean,
and they started this there is no such thing as false memory syndrome.
Yeah.
I mean, and they were actually, as I said, they were stepbrother and stepsister, and then they became husband and wife. And Peter Fried he had a PhD in mathematics, but he was a nut, a psycho. And this is kind of interesting because the Alternative Weekly in Philadelphia did an article on the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, and they were interviewing Peter Fried, and they said, well, how do we know that you didn't molest your daughter? Now, here's a guy with a PhD in mathematics, and this is what he said. The dog would have barked.
There, I don't sweat. Yeah. That's up there with I don't sweat.
Yeah, I swear to God, I remember seeing that on like Donahue or something when I was a little kid.
What, false memory?
They used to do these shows about these crazy theories I don't know if like on purpose to introduce them to the United States or just to be like, this is crazy, but they would have people on like, did you know that there's false memories?
Yeah, just throwing that out there.
I swear to God, I remember seeing that.
Well, what they did and what they still do, I mean, the False Memory Syndrome Foundation is disintegrated as it should have, but they go around and they testify at child abuse trials.
Oh my God.
Saying that the child.
It's like a ringer. Like, nah, we're good. Bring in this chick.
Saying that the child's memories are fallible and that. So. And.
You just arrest everyone from that foundation.
Someone like Loftus made millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Flying around. And that's what they do. They fly around the world and they get called by very. There was a False Memory Syndrome Foundation guy named Harrison Pope who was called in to debunk these Boys Town kids that were molested by Father James Kelly. And Father James Kelly was a major pedophile. He was a pedophile in New York, upstate. He molested a bunch of kids in upstate. And then the Catholic Church, in its infinite wisdom, transferred him to Boys Town, where he became the number 2 guy.
It's like sending poo to the honey.
Because I was looking for victims that had been trafficked by King, and I ended up talking to a bunch of victims that had been molested by Father Kelly.
Yeah.
And I think that Kelly was compromised, and because the priests at Boys Town, they were the ultimate authority. And if you wanted a pass for the weekend, you could get one from the priest. So, and then Kelly, and Boys Town has protected Kelly. It's really egregious. And then he ended up in Las Vegas as a pastor at a jail. So
there you go.
that's where he ended up. There was one priest at Boys Town who ended up in Argentina. So obviously.
Yeah, I mean what were you gonna ask him about the boys, the guy from the Biden laptops and stuff?
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that actually on the podcast, but like the whole boys lawyer, like it's Boys Edwards Pottinger. Is this who are these the guys?
Pottinger is
he separate?
Pottinger is a CIA asset, or was a CIA asset for sure. And he took part in arms dealing. People think it's Iran-Contra, but it's not. In 1979, the Iranian students took all the people that were at the U.S. Embassy hostage. There was like 52 of them. And the Reagan administration had George Bush Sr., who would be the vice president, and he had been head of the CIA. And then it had William Casey, who was intelligence, and he would become head of the CIA in the Reagan administration.
Yeah.
So the Carter administration sent Pottinger to Spain to talk to one of the Iranians, and on behalf of the Carter administration. But he didn't talk to him on behalf of the Carter administration. He talked to him on behalf of the Reagan campaign. And that's when they started working out this deal where the United States would sell them arms if they held the hostages till after Reagan was elected.
That is insane.
This is the begin. This is October Surprise. Is that the first
that's
October Surprise?
Surprise.
Yeah, that's the first one.
And October Surprise predates Iran-Contra.
Okay.
Or laid the foundation for Iran-Contra. So Pottinger is part of this deal, and one of his clients is Cyrus Hashemi, who is an Iranian arms dealer. And the Department of Justice has Pottinger on tape putting together an arms deal with Hashemi. They got him on tape. And Rudolph Giuliani is the U.S. attorney that's prosecuting the case.
America's married, dude?
Yeah.
And Rudolph Giuliani or the Department of Justice, they lost the tapes
I hate when
that
that
incriminated
Man,
Stan
that
Pottinger.
sucks, man.
And then around that time, Stan Pottinger was in business with Jeffrey Epstein. They were ostensibly selling tax avoidance strategies to the rich, but they were both arms dealers.
Do you think that's how he started? Like the kids just, or like the human trafficking kind of just came after he like got into the mud with arms dealing?
You know, it's a chicken or egg kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Epstein was a very talented piano player and very gifted at science and math. And Donald Barr, who was in the OSS, and he's the father of William Barr, who was the Attorney General that covered up Franklin and then covered up Epstein, and a CIA guy for sure. So Donald Barr had this special program where they'd bring talented kids from all over New York, and they would spend like Saturdays.
Right.
And he oversaw that. And I believe, and I haven't been able to prove it, but I believe that's where he met Epstein.
There's a part of Lolita, not to like get too skitzed out, but there's a part of Lolita at the end where the girl goes to a summer camp, and basically the dude that's been like trafficking her and fucking her figures out that she was already molested by this other dude that ran a summer play program. And like, this is like fucking mind fucking him, right? Yeah. But Epstein went to like he was a talented arts kid and went to Interlochen
Yeah, he
in the
was
summertime, and he went to like the same thing that Lolita went to.
Holy
It's fucking weird when I think about it. I'm like, this guy kind of lived like parallels to this book. Yeah. But if Barr found him when he was a kid, and he's like, because in the birthday book, it's like he's playing accordion, like all this stuff.
Makes no sense.
Whatever. I just think there's something about these guys that like fucking it fucks with my head if I start thinking about it too much.
Yeah, they're psychopaths.
And Donald Barr was a by the book fascist guy. I mean, he totally by the book.
He's the nut that wrote that space relations.
And but so there's no way he would have hired a college dropout.
Fuck no. Yeah.
For Dalton, which is probably the most prestigious school. There's no way he would have hired Epstein without kind of some type of prior relationship.
Yeah, the interview he does with Bannon, like everyone says he's a genius, but when he's talking that interview, he kind of sounds like a fucking moron.
Well, I mean, the guy obviously has a certain degree of intelligence to do what he did. I mean, he sounds like a guy that kind of grew up. He's got that Brooklyn rasp to him, and his grammar is certainly not very good with the emails. But the guy had some kind of intelligence to do everything. But you also have to keep in mind he was protected.
Yes,
I mean, if I was a psychopath and I wanted to do illegal stuff and I was protected, I could do a lot of stuff, man.
So he's freewheeling and he's protected, but he's protected by intelligence agencies. Is that what it is? Where it's like he belongs to intelligence? Like, who's protecting him? Is it mafia?
No. Well, when he got busted, and when the Palm Beach Police Department started to investigate in 2005, and then they had that ridiculous grand jury that said he hadn't molested a single kid.
Those little girl interviews are rough to read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and at that point, Florida knew of anywhere from 17 to 23 victims, and Lana Bell Lovick, who was a special prosecutor, only called 2. And one had been molested by Epstein when she was 14. She was now 16. One had been molested by Epstein multiple times when she was 16, and now she was 18. And she just skewered those poor girls. And actually the grand jurors are just people that have been shown up for jury duty and they've been found into a grand jury. They don't know what, the only thing they know is what the special prosecutor presents them and as far as evidence and also calls the witnesses. So Lana Bell Lovick just skewered those poor girls. And actually, the grand jurors were calling them prostitutes.
Holy fuck!
Just
so I guess she did a good
really
job.
bad.
Yeah.
So Michael Ryder, who was the chief of the Palm Beach Police Department, who is really one of the major unsung heroes in all this, he took so much heat.
I bet, dude.
So much heat.
If you're throwing that out there, like you're pissing off some people.
And he took a lot of heat. He's really a good guy, man, and really the unsung hero of Epstein. And he went to the Department of Justice and said, that grand jury is like one of the greatest miscarriage of justice in modern history. You've got to fix this. Now, what I had thought before all these documents came out is because Acosta was told to stand down. He was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida. He was told to stand down. And I didn't know. I thought that he was going to impanel a grand jury and didn't, or he impaneled one briefly and then adjourned it. But actually, there was a full-scale investigation into Epstein by the feds. And they drafted a 60-count indictment. And I didn't know that until recently.
And then they gave the sweetheart deal?
And then there was a lot of pressure put on Acosta. Actually, there's an email about it where Ken Starr, who's a snake.
Oh, we know all about it.
We've been looking into these lawyers because it's like this is how they need like Dershowitz, Starr, and I don't know. Like
Roy Black. I mean, he had a dream team right up there with OJ.
Right.
Because Ken Starr was with the Clinton scandal and he was with the Kavanaugh scandal. So it seems like everywhere this dude goes, there's some like weird sexual scandal going on.
Kavanaugh emails. Yeah.
So, Alexander Acosta had the heat put on him. And now there's only two people in the government that can tell a U.S. attorney to stand down. One is the attorney general and one is president. Those are the only two guys.
Yeah.
So, and Alexander Acosta, as a U.S. attorney, isn't going to unilaterally cover up a pedophile network. Not going to happen. He's not going to put himself on a limb. The attorney general was Alberto Gonzales. He isn't going to unilaterally cover up a pedophile network. He's not going to put himself on a limb like that. That order came from Bush, too. Damn. The cognitively challenged George Bush.
Yeah.
But so when you talk about intelligence, power, connections, I mean, the sweetheart deal came from the president of the United States of America.
So, like, dudes like boys, are they good lawyers?
Yeah. You get some more. Boys? Oh, yeah. I'll get them coffee.
David Boyd.